OutFront now, Democratic Senator Alex Padilla of California. He is a member of the Budget Committee. And Senator, I really appreciate your time. So you got Republicans now saying they'll filibuster any vote to raise the debt limit, which means you got to get 60 votes, and you don't have 60 votes. So you're not going to avoid a default that way, and that would mean you have to do it alone through reconciliation. That's more time consuming. It means that Democrats are going to have to own this completely, right? You're not going to get anyone coming across party lines to support you. But that may be the only way you can get this done. Do you support doing it that way?
So, well, first of all, good evening, Erin. Good to be with you. And look, I think that's exactly what Mitch McConnell wants, because even the reconciliation option is ripe with a lot of pitfalls that he is ready to exploit. So there's still time, and I still hope that we can appeal to our Republican colleagues to do the right thing. I mean, if they're just not gonna, if they're not gonna be helpful on raising the debt ceiling and do what they're doing now, which is to actually obstruct Democrats willing to do it alone, then they should also explain why they're doing this. Are they gonna apologize for having voted to add to the deficit in the past? Or are they gonna apologize for having voted to raise the debt ceiling, as you said, Mitch McConnell himself, 32 times in the past? Fiscally, it's the right thing to do. They've done it over and over again. It's just a sign of where the Republicans are these days.
Right. Well, of course, the right thing to do is to pay down, debts that you've already incurred, which is what this is about. The whole point of the debt ceiling was to theoretically, every time you were going to do something new to spark the conversation. And as I pointed out, it has never resulted in a cut in borrowing. And so some are calling for the debt limit to be eliminated altogether. Take a listen to this.
Would you support simply eliminating the debt ceiling so that we don't have to deal with this in the future and can focus on real crises?
Yes, I would. It's really a very counterproductive piece of legislation. So, yeah, I'd get rid of it.
So JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon told Reuters the debt limit is all politics. You've got a lot of people saying this. Would you support eliminating it altogether?
Look, Erin, as you know, this is my first year in the Senate. I think that's a very worthwhile conversation to have, but we're not going to rush that conversation here in the handful of days between now and hitting the debt ceiling that's due October 18th at the very latest. So we need to do now what we need to do now to make sure that the government does not default. I also want to make this point, because when we talk about debt ceiling and the government defaulting, it can be over a lot of people's heads. Let's really be clear as to what this means, especially for working families across the country. If the government cannot pay its bills, what does that mean? Does that mean federal employees aren't being paid? Does that mean Medicare is not being paid or reimbursed? Does that mean unemployment insurance for people who are still struggling to get back to work because of the COVID pandemic are going to be impacted? That's what Republicans are doing here. When they play with fire, like they're doing with this debt ceiling, it's working families that feel it the most. It's them that are hurt.
So, I know obviously you're in the middle of, theoretically, some negotiations here on this much larger bill, that's a bipartisan infrastructure bill that so far progressives have not allowed a vote on. And then there's the bigger bill. Your Democratic colleague, Senator Kyrsten Sinema, of course, is at the center of that. And she was confronted by protesters who are angry that she opposes the $3.5 trillion a bill making its way through Congress. And they even followed her into a bathroom to make their point. Here they are.
Today we want to talk to you real quick.
Hi, actually, I am heading out.
But right now is a real moment that our people need in order for us to be able to talk about what's really happening. We need a Build Back Better plan right now.
So that we can have justice and solutions that we need for immigration, labor,
Build Back Better.
Back the bill. Build Back Better. Back the bill. Build Back Better. Pass the bill.
Okay, that obviously is not okay. But what does it tell you about how ugly this fight is getting, Senator?
Well, look, I think it's indicative of how urgent a lot of these infrastructure investments are. And we know there's two packages. There's the bipartisan package that was already approved by the Senate. We're looking at the bigger infrastructure package that's through this reconciliation process. And that's why I think people are so attuned to how much money are we going to be investing in and what the negotiations are like, because it's really hard for working parents to get back to work if you don't have a safe place to leave your kids. So yes, we need to invest in childcare. Have you seen the homeless situation in most cities communities across the country. Yes, we need to invest in housing. And if we've learned nothing else from this pandemic, it's the need to modernize our healthcare infrastructure and expand capacity of our healthcare infrastructure, in addition to what we're doing with other parts of the packages, investing in public transit, transportation, the electrical grid, broadband deployment, and more. It's not what American people want, it's what American people need.
All right. Well, Senator, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Senator Padilla.
Thank you.